In old age, many people consider their memory to be the most valuable thing after physical health, not the material things accumulated over their lives, but their memory. What are we living for? Is it not to remember the pleasant moments of youth, to bask in warm memories, and to tell your grandchildren fascinating stories from your childhood? But unfortunately, the hero of our story today is deprived of this. He starts every morning the same way, quite literally. Every morning, he does not even remember his own name, and his family has to reacquaint him with the people in his life. Christopher Robin was born in Canada to an ordinary family. He was healthy, enjoyed playing hockey with his friends, and studied well in school. When Christopher was 16 years old, he got a driver's license. Since his school was far from their home, his father allowed him to take his car to school and back. Christopher was a very good driver, and his father never worried about it. Each time, he calmly gave his son the keys to the car, knowing that he drove very carefully. But one day, something unexpected happened. Returning from his friend's house late in the evening, Christopher suddenly fell asleep at the wheel. There was an accident, but fortunately for everyone, he just pulled off the side of the road at low speed and crashed into a tree. The car received minor damage, and Christopher did not receive even a scratch. When his father asked Christopher what had happened, the son replied that he felt a sharp weakness and fell asleep when he was driving. Of course, his father was angry with him and insisted that if he ever felt that way again, to not drive in the first place. But that was only the beginning. From that moment on, Christopher began to suddenly fall asleep no matter where he was and no matter what he was doing. He would fall asleep on the way to school or while eating in the cafeteria or in the library or in the store. He would fall asleep at a party and even while playing hockey. Once he fell asleep while on the bus and missed his stop. His parents were seriously afraid for their son and immediately sent him for a full examination to a local hospital. After conducting all the necessary examinations, Christopher was diagnosed with a very rare and unusual diagnosis of narcolepsy. It is a disease of the brain. Christopher was now facing a lengthy treatment. Over the next 2 years, Christopher regularly took many medications, and his parents hoped that the disease would recede and their son would again be healthy as before. But Christopher did not get better. On the contrary, very soon, side effects from this disease began to appear in the form of short-term memory loss. At first, Christopher woke up in the morning not recognizing himself. He would stand in front of the mirror for a long time, trying to remember who he was and what his name was. Then he stopped recognizing his parents, and then he did not remember at all where he was, who all the people around him were, and how he got there. Every morning, his parents had to explain to their son who he was and why he did not remember anything. Every day, the disease progressed more and more, erasing more and more information from Christopher's memory. There were even days when he went to bed in the evening without remembering who he was during the day. We could end this sad story here, but Christopher has always had tremendous willpower, and so he managed to enter an industrial college. Of course, it was much harder for him than his peers. Each time he had to remember not only his name, but also the curriculum. But he did not give up. He understood that if he did not train his memory daily, then most likely he would not be able to remember absolutely anything one day. While in college, he met Chelsea, and they began dating. Every evening, he came home and told his parents all the details of their dates so that in the morning they could retell them to him. He was very afraid that Chelsea would find out about his illness and refuse to date him. For a long time, he managed to hide his illness, but he increasingly forgot the small details of their conversations, and Chelsea began to suspect something was wrong. One day, she asked him directly what was wrong with him. After all, it was obvious that he forgot many important things. Then Christopher confessed everything. He expected that Chelsea would immediately leave him, but she didn't. She had already fallen in love with him, and now she wanted to share all the sorrows and joys with him. Soon the young people got married and moved in together. At first, Christopher's parents were very worried about whether Chelsea would be able to provide him the same life that he was used to, but she took over the task with ease, and they got along well. Every morning she tells him about who she is, what she does with him, briefly retells the last important events, and stays with him until he remembers something. 7 years have passed since their wedding. Literally every corner of their house is covered with stickers describing the facts of their life, the names of friends and family, the names of their dogs, the addresses for work and local shops, stories and dates about family events so that he can remember what and when happened in their lives. Chelsea says that she has long been accustomed to remembering everything on a daily basis. It has become a routine for her. She admits that this is a great workout for her memory, and this motivates her to live every day so that she has something to tell her husband about tomorrow. Their life can truly be called filled with many bright events and emotions because it is thanks to them that Christopher manages to remember the events of yesterday every morning. Not every person is able to live every day so brightly and unusually as Christopher and Chelsea do. And Christopher himself is immensely happy that such a loving, attentive, and caring girl is with him. He is deeply grateful to her that she was not afraid of the difficulties due to his illness, but remained close to share his life with him. This story makes us look differently at every day we live. How many events per week can an average person remember? If their life consists only of the routine work, home, then their memory is not much more than that of Christopher. It is important to fill your life with vivid emotions and live every day so that in old age there is something to remember and tell your grandchildren.